Wow, what a game! What a game! You know, I think give Indiana a lot of credit. You know, I just give them a lot of credit. They were battling possession for possession, and I don't think either team really wanted to give in. And you know, we'd like to have some possessions back, and I'm sure they would too. But at the end of the day, I think being able to kind of stay with it, and give ourselves a chance. Late, CJ made a heck of an instinctive play, and it is something that we practiced, but the kid deserves the credit for the shot because it was a deep three. So it's been you know, an unbelievable way to cap an unbelievable regular season.
Chris, there were something like 9 lead changes in the last 3-4 minutes of that second overtime. What were you seeing from your guys that enabled you to keep answering when it kept looking like maybe it could get away?
Well, this team, it does have a grit to it that is necessary in a game like this, particularly on the road. And I think at the end of the day, that's what you're trying to preach from day one, and that's what you hope you have guys that have that to them. You know, that have that stuff inside them that we all look at and can identify as resiliency and grit and the ability to stay with it and not let one play affect the other. And they did that, and it wasn't always perfect, and we put them on the line too much, and we missed some shots that probably we normally make, and we didn't always play as strong as we need to, and defensively we weren't very good in spots. All those things we have to get better on, but you know, we're not going to let that diminish this win.
The play at the end, obviously you don't have any timeouts, so you can't set anything up. I presume, as you said, something that you practiced, but Peardy got to about half court and almost kind of lost control of the ball. It wasn't going to be able to take it much farther without getting the shot up. Just the uncanny ability he had there in that moment to realize and somehow he'd been fighting it a little bit too, just to make one when you had to have it.
Yeah. You know, we ran a similar action at the end for JT at the end of the first overtime, whatever it was, and we didn't execute that real well. And I think that the presence of mind to get the shot up. I don't know, in CJ's mind, I think he'd almost prefer to shoot a 25-footer in that situation and maybe get it all the way to the rim. He did look like he fumbled it, and then maybe pass fake, did he? I thought maybe he pass faked to somebody and then got it up. But he's a really good shooter. He's capable of making that. I thought that maybe equally as good was the fact that we did have presence of mind a little bit better. We got to get better, but a little bit better to press up and make sure they didn't have another clean look at it. Johnson's shot was semi-contested. Yeah,
beyond the X's and O's of it, just the human element of this whole thing. I mean, for you to overachieve to this point and then be here in your 31st game and find a way to even overachieve beyond what you'd already done up to this point.
You know, probably it's been as remarkable a regular season as anything I've been a part of. You know, just in coaching. So. Well, I want to take that for granted. It's been incredibly special.
Coach, how much does it mean to have a couple of bad games on the road and a couple of tough environments to be able to grind out a win like this in one of the toughest road environments in college basketball?
Yeah, I want to point out that, you know, again, I give Indiana a lot of credit. That's obviously a tough way to lose. They deserve a lot of credit. Their crowd was phenomenal. Phenomenal. So you're right, it was a very difficult environment. We expected that, knowing this place, the history here. We expected that, but that was phenomenal. And yeah, I just think you're trying to play a little bit better and execute a little bit better. Listen, we struggled against Penn State. I don't think we had any kind of competitive spirit in that one, but they deserve a lot of credit. Michigan was just better than us on that day, and we were a little bit better. We were a lot better against Michigan in terms of our competitiveness. They were just better than us on that day for sure. This one, you know, I will have to go back and look at it. I think we made some steps forward, but we got to continue to get better.
kind of going off of that, what is, I mean, you guys obviously don't know who you're playing yet on next Friday, but what is there one main thing that you guys are kind of working on here in your week off?
Rest. I mean, they are exhausted. We rode some guys that I didn't want to play Cato HD out 45 minutes, but I kept saying, do I want to win? Or, is he going to have a few days off here? So we just rode him because we needed to. And we ran a couple things late, and literally JT just he couldn't function. That's why I had to use one of the timeouts, because he literally, it was for him, and he couldn't move. So those guys need a lot of rest.
Just kind of going off that really quick here, Cato's recent struggles, is that more of just needing that rest?
Yeah, but I thought he was great tonight. Yeah, he needs rest. He needs rest in the worst way.
Coach, Kate and CJ were talking about how in those situations it's really important that the head coach is calm, and they've seen that from you. How calm do you feel in those situations, and how do you feel that helps your players perform in those situations?
Well, they do. They do. I've learned that as a coach. If they see you as antsy and not real confident in what you're doing, then it's pretty transparent. And you try to practice those things so that they do have some degree of confidence in them. In pressure situations, you refer back to your habits, and I've learned that as a coach, because I've not always been, as my disposition has not always been what it needed to be late.
And when you win a game like that to end the regular season and go into postseason play, how important is it for that as opposed to what it could have been if that shot doesn't go down?
Well, I think the biggest thing right now, even if we'd have lost and would have said, hey, we're going in, because I've lost 3 or 4 going into the NCAA tournament or the Big East tournament, and played well in the Big East tournament. Maybe we didn't win, but played well, and then played really well in the NCAA tournament. So the biggest thing is how you're playing, how healthy are you, what's the spirit of your team. So sometimes we can't control the way the schedule falls late, and so that's the most important thing, is how are we playing, win or lose. So we do have to get better in some areas, but it's nice to be able to cap off a regular season. 15 wins, unbelievable. So it's nice to be able to cap that off.
Following up James' question about your composure, you see CJ come down and put that up. What's going through your head? Just, could you let us in on that a little bit?
Well, I'll be honest with you, you feel really happy for the kid and the team. You also recognize, quite honestly, I've lost like that before, and it's gut-wrenching. So I think there's a level of respect that's required in those moments, because that's a hard way to lose. And it's not like I was going to say all that to Archie, but that's a hard way to. So you just shake their hand and move on and celebrate in the locker room, because they battled their families off. And but I was really first thought was, man, really happy for CJ. Just happy for him and happy for our seniors. They just told me they had not won it here.
You said obviously Caden needs rest now, and he didn't necessarily shoot at a high percentage tonight, but he didn't seem to impact the game maybe more than he has in the last couple of games. What did he give you all around tonight? Because it seemed like on a night where you needed your All-American type of guy to play like that, even though not all the shots fell, it kind of felt like he could play at that level. Yeah,
it was great. I think he's gaining in confidence, and he missed some free throws that he normally makes. I don't know what he shot from the line, but it really bothers him when he misses free throws. What did he shoot from the line?
It was 4-7.
Yeah, so. But I thought he did impact the game in a lot of different ways. Came up with a rebound late that was really critical and important for us to get that rebound late. And I thought he made, that last play he made to score coming middle on McRoberts was critical. It's really critical for us. So.
And how do you address a win like this when you have a chance to see your guys in the locker room? And I'm sure maybe you don't give a long speech, but what do you say to the team when this chapter of the season is over? Now you can officially look ahead to the tournament. You can celebrate a huge win. How do you address this with the team?
I just wanted them to feel really good about the regular season. I didn't get on next to the tournament or anything like that. We just addressed a couple of the last plays. And more anything, I think, Adam, is what we're trying to do is pull out from this game what we could learn and our resiliency, our ability to stay with it. Just, I want to reaffirm that that's why we were able to sneak this one out. But we really just celebrated a special regular season more than anything. I didn't get into anything else.
Chris, after Michigan, the talk was how to get Cada going again, and outside of Jay Sean, a lot of players just weren't producing the way they were, and tonight, just responding when Indiana was getting buckets, it seemed like it was coming from everyone. How encouraging was that?
Good. We needed it. I thought Caleb gave us some good minutes. CJ, Cam was important for us, just to be able to get him some open looks and him to be able to knock down some open looks. We need a little more balance, but I thought JT was really critical for us in the second half. I mean, first half we weren't able to get him the ball enough, but his second half, his drives and finishes and 6 assists were critical.
They moved to 18 games, I think, in the 70s, and your team has the second most Big Ten wins in a single season. There's only one team that had more, 16, and you're tied for second with a couple other teams. Just what does that say? I mean, this is quite a first year, I think, in anybody's way of thinking of what you just accomplished, whether you come out of it with the championship or not.
Yeah. It's really amazing. It's, like I said, I think it's the most special thing I've been a part of in coaching. The Big Ten, the year that I think that we won 16 games, it was better there, but we've got some good teams, and I hope that we have as many as 5 or 6 teams in the NCAA tournament, because I think there are 5 or 6 teams deserving. But I'll never forget this regular season ever.
Chris, we always talk about players, rightfully so, but what did you learn this year? You've coached a while, but I assume you've picked up something or seen something because of this team. If you could articulate that, what is it?
I think I maybe learned, or maybe it was reaffirmed in my mind, the importance of obviously having good players. Beyond that, the importance of having guys that embrace a winning culture, and having a locker room that embraces that. And if you do that, good things, if you have good enough players, good things can happen, and we've got good enough players. But I think it just reaffirmed all those things. You can't ever, you go into a season, you don't know what the chemistry of the team's going to be like. You don't know what type of agendas you may be dealing with. We have had an agendaless group in terms of the leadership of our team from day one. We've had to manage other things from other guys, but we have Cada, JT. We've had an agenda. Their agenda has been, I don't want my legacy to be anything other than something that people can feel proud of, and I think it just reaffirmed in my mind, continue to try to bring those people into our program, and we need more of them, and obviously, we need more.
Chris, I'm not sure if you saw before the game, but Jim Delaney said that the sped up schedule wasn't going to happen again. Just from your perspective, was this sped up schedule, how much did it put just in extra trying to get the rest when you could, and just was it safe to be playing these games back to back like you had 1 day rest the other day?
Well, I'm glad. I'm happy that he's committed to that, because I get the whole idea of going to New York and playing the tournament there, and I understand that. But I think all the coaches would agree it's been a challenge to manage your team, and there's probably been some teams that have been affected worse than others. I don't know where we're in that continuum there, who's had 1 day rest and who hasn't. But I'm glad that there's going to be it's going to be more spaced and not as compressed. I think that's healthy for our season, healthy for our teams, and I think it gives us the best chance moving forward in the tournament.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thanks guys.
Thank you.